Big 12 Radio, Big 12 Today. Great to have you with us today and every day here on your home for the Big 12. Tune in, Big 12 Studios. If you have not yet already, make sure to download the TuneIn app and search Big 12. That way, each and every time you open up the app, you can find us. We're talking all things Big 12 and, of course, all things football. Keep it locked in on Big 12 Today and Big 12 Radio throughout the football offseason, because football season never sleeps. And we are presented by Modelo because, cheers to you, the full-time fan who knows no offseason, James. And what is the golden Modelo fan rule about the offseason?
Off-season optimism is mandatory.
Thank you. Presented by Modelo and the full-time fans. All right, so with the offseason in full go right now, we're now taking a day each and every we're now spending a couple of segments each and every day talking through the top transfer portal additions at each position. Yesterday was offensive line, and today we're focused on tight end, taking a look at the top 5 newcomers to the Big 12 at the tight end position, James.
Yeah, and I think, collectively there aren't any tight ends that are entering this conference that had Joe Royer, Cincinnati-type numbers, or Terrence Carter.
Yeah, there's no runaway favorite here. It's a great point.
Completely agree. So I look at fit and potential as I put my list together. The number 5 guy on my list is Cole Rusk, who's transferring to Arizona from Illinois. He's 6'5", 250 pounds, probably the most productive tight end at his last school entering this league. He had 19 catches for over 200 yards and a touchdown. And before that, he was a really, really, really good FCS player at Murray State, where he was an FCS All-American, had over 500 yards. He's tall, he's athletic, he's got a receiver-type, big catch radius. He's got a ton of experience from his playing days at Murray State and at Illinois. I think he's going to be a really nice addition for Arizona and going to be probably their 3rd or 4th option as a pass catcher.
All right, who do you have at number 4?
Oh, we're doing the whole list. Okay, number 4, I've got Jet Carpenter at Texas Tech. Transfer from Nevada, 6'3", 260 pounds. He's an exceptional blocker, and I think he's going to pair really nice with Terrence Carter, who's coming back to Lubbock. He was at Eastern Washington before Nevada. He had 35 catches last year, almost 400 yards receiving, a couple of touchdowns, but he's known as a chain mover. He's big on 3rd downs. He's really good at making tough catches in traffic, and he's a veteran guy. 6 collegiate seasons of football, so he's going to be an older player that can step in and be a factor for Texas Tech right away.
2 guys I have on my list for sure. Let's see if we have all 5 the same.
All right, number 3 for me is a guy who's headed to Lawrence. This is my sleeper pick, and I asked you if you were familiar with Niles North High School in the Chicago area, because that's where this guy played.
Yeah.
Jalen Butler. He's a transfer from Old Dominion. And his stats don't pop. He caught 9 passes each of his 2 seasons at Old Dominion. He missed 1 year with an injury. But he is a freak athlete. He was a 1,000-point scorer in high school playing basketball. So he's got that Antonio Gates, Tony Gonzalez type frame. He runs like a deer. He spent 1 year in junior college where he shined. I think in Andy Kotelnicki's offense in Lawrence, where they love to use the tight end. Think Casey, the tight end that was there before. He's going to be a guy that could have a major role for KU.
He's not on my list, but I love that call. Good one.
All right, number 2 for me, I go out to Provo, BYU. Roger Saliapaga is how I'm going to say that last name. He's a transfer from Oregon, 6'4", 245 pounds. Played in 26 games at Oregon. Only caught 3 passes last year. He was primarily used on special teams and as a blocker, but he did have a touchdown against Indiana in the regular season. His brother played offensive line at BYU. He was a really dynamic pass catcher in high school. He was a 4-star, top 150 recruit. And BYU, I highlight 2 guys for the Cougars on my list because of usage. They love to use their tight ends. He's going to be on the field a ton. And Walker Lyons is number 1. Again, another 4-star recruit. He was an All-American Bowl Man of the Year in 2023 in high school. originally signed with Stanford and then ends up at USC, transfers to BYU. He's a pro. All the scouts love this kid. 6'5", 245 pounds. He's got front end size. He's really balanced. He's a good blocker. And again, I highlight two BYU guys because of their usage. They use their tight ends a ton, and I just think these two guys are outstanding fits.
All right, James and I have three players the same on our lists, and let me get to mine now as I rank the top 5 newcomers at tight end in the Big 12. Number 5 for me is a guy that you had on your list as well. It's Jed Carpenter, the Nevada transfer to Texas Tech. I put a lot of stock into production, and that is going to be a theme across this list and certainly each and every day when we do this. 35 for 374 and 2 touchdowns, averaging almost 11 yards per catch. So he's a big play waiting to happen. And, maybe the reason he wasn't higher on my list is because, the Texas Tech has so many weapons. So I go with Jed Carpenter, the new Texas Tech tight end, on my list. They also added, by the way, a true freshman 4-star, Matt Ludwig, who's got a lot of long-term upside, and we'll see if they kind of used some two tight end sets with Ludwig as well as Carpenter. Number 4 on my list is Patrick Overmeyer, the Houston tight end, transfer from UTSA. You talk about lots of production. I think this is a major oversight on your part, James, by not having Overmeyer on your list. In the last 2 seasons, Overmeyer for UTSA, 58 catches, 627 yards, 8 touchdowns, and that's between 24 and 25 at UTSA. So this is a dude that produces, and Houston, as we break it down, has done really well in the portal, adding a lot of productive players. Cole Rusk is where I have number 3. Cole Rusk, you brought him up. He was on your list. The Illinois transfer who's been around the block. He's spent a lot of time across the country, different spots, but has been productive. 19 for 217 and a touchdown last year. Probably wasn't as productive as some of these other guys in this list, but I think he's going to be a huge target for Arizona. I liked him and his potential. Number 2 for me is Tony Livingston, the Baylor addition from Florida. 11 receptions, 119 yards, and 2 touchdowns in 10 games last year with Florida, 5 starts. So, I mean, when you think about him coming over with DJ Lagway, the familiarity, clearly a guy that Lagway liked and preferred, and a reason why, he's been added to Baylor. And then when you look at what Michael Trigg did last year, he kind of reminds me from an athletic standpoint of Trigg, and a guy that they can get open down the field. So I think Trigg leaving opens up a huge opportunity for Livingston. Look, I think he was more of a secondary option last year. The fact that he comes over from Florida to Baylor with Lagway, I think speaks to his potential. I think he's going to be featured in this offense. Tony Livingston, number 2. And then we both have the same number 1, Walker Lyons, the brother of Ryder Lyons, the 5-star recruit who's going to take a mission trip this year and then head over to BYU for his freshman season in 2027. But Walker Lyons, probably the most proven receiving tight end in the Big 12 portal class. We're going to have Jake Butt, who's the former Michigan tight end, on with us at the top of the hour. And 2 guys I know that he knows very well, Cole Rusk, who played at Illinois, and Walker Lyons, who played at USC, 2 Big 10 teams adding to the Big 12 mix here, James.
Yeah, and I love that you highlighted Overmeyer and Livingston. Livingston is going to be a huge part of Baylor's offense last year with how much they targeted Michael Trigg, and they're similar in terms of they can stretch the field and cause major mismatch problems for secondaries. And then Overmeyer, he was a dude at UTSA. I saw him catch like one-handed back of the end zone highlight reel grab that was all over SportsCenter. He's a really big frame, and he will be a high-usage guy because Houston loses Tanner Koziol, who is the transfer from Ball State and caught a boatload of passes. He was their second leading receiver this past year. So fit for both of those guys is outstanding. And as we do this, I start to realize there's more tight end production coming into this league than maybe I had initially anticipated before diving into these potential candidates.
Yeah, and I think, it's this list was fun to put together because it wasn't overwhelming in terms of how you should rank these guys. There probably was room to add a true freshman, and there's a couple of big-time recruits, and Matt Ludwig, who I referenced for Texas Tech, but BYU has one too, in Brock Harris, who comes in as a 4-star at the tight end position, aside from Walker Lyons. So, I think it was pretty wide open in terms of how you can rank these guys. and there's the potential for a lot of them. There's also a lot of upside with some of them, but guys that have already produced. So I think, a guy like Livingston probably shows both. And the reason I had Livingston so high was because, if he's coming over from Florida, Lagway liked him and he saw some production there. And I love that you pointed out Jalen Butler, the Old Dominion transfer, because Kansas always involves their tight ends in the passing game, especially with Andy Kotelnicki coming back.
Right.
I really thought long and hard about adding him to my list. They also add Carter Moses. This is the second player they've added as a pass catcher out of Albany in the last 2 years. So that will be a position to be fortified, especially as Andy Kotelnicki comes back, because tight end's a huge part of Andy Kotelnicki's offenses.
And there's a lot of teams in this league that really the usage rate for tight ends is really high.
Yeah.
Utah uses their tight ends. Kansas State uses their tight ends. They're expecting a major breakout season for Lincoln Cure, who is a 5-star recruit and the number 1 tight end in the nation and struggled to get on the field this year at Kansas State. They're expecting big things from him. And, Brock Harris is a guy at BYU that is also taking a 1-year mission trip, so we won't see him till 27, which is why I think they brought in Ryder's brother and Walker, and then also the transfer tight end from Oregon, who I think has a ton of potential, a 4-star kid who's back home. He's from Utah. He's from Orem, just a stone's throw from Provo. So I really like what a lot of teams have done in the Big 12, and the tight end room is going to be deep at Texas Tech with the freshmen, with Carter coming back. That was a huge retention piece for them, and then adding the kid from Nevada. I like the depth at the position in the league.
Yeah, and I think to your point, because you had 2 BYU guys on your list, if we're just power ranking what teams did in the portal or new additions at the tight end position, I think BYU's certainly at the front of the class based on, again, those 2 additions, 2 guys that we think pretty highly of, including, you and I both had Walker Lyons at number 1, and then, Brock Harris as well. So you think about, adding 2 big-time tight ends to the portal if you're BYU, plus Brock Harris, a 4-star tight end. Love what BYU's done in the portal. And I think through 2 days, it's obvious that BYU and Houston have been really picky but successful in the portal. I think Houston's had a really good approach of finding guys that have been productive. Houston's probably, so far through 2 days, the team that is most notable across these lists with high expectations heading into this season. All right, we will do the wide receiver position tomorrow. Cannot wait to be highlighting the top 5 newcomers, whether that be through the portal or through the recruiting cycle at the wide receiver position. On the way next, let's talk tight ends with Jake Butt, the former Michigan tight end, joins us. This is Big 12 Today, Big 12 Radio. We are presented by Modelo, heard on TuneIn, watched on Big 12 Studios.